Hi, and welcome to A Punk with Toys. My name is Lawrence, and today in this classic review, we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe, a real American hero, all striker, and this one is complete without stickers. So it's not my original, not at all, although the crankcase is my original crankcase. My original all striker has seen much better days. I actually do still have it downstairs, but it's not complete. This one here, we got the lights that are actually still in it. I got the hose connecting to it. You know, you got your gun up here. Thank you to Johnny Reno, who helped complete it with one of these antennas. But anyway, we're going to take a look at it, everything that this thing came with. Again, if you're watching this when it comes out, all striker for the G.I. Joe Classified is coming, so I'm looking forward to having a nice comparison. But we're going to take a look at this one, look at all the detail that they put into it, including the engine in the back there, the suspension, so you could do better pictures. But as a kid, we weren't taking pictures. But I got to tell you, doing a lot of these reviews, when I have to take the cover picture, the thumbnail, these vehicles, they photograph so awesomely. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this. Tell me a story. Did you have this? Maybe you only had the vamp. Maybe you traded someone who never had the vamp and they had this, and then their mom got really mad at them and they were like, you know what? You go back there and get that. That's a brand new toy. This one is old. I don't know. It's your story, but I want to hear it. Anyway, let's get into this, but before we do, if you like this type of content, you will like when I'm talking to G.I. Joe and showing off these classic reviews, take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a classic review. Alright, so here we have the All Striker. This is not my All Striker, not my original one, but it is a one in pretty good condition without any stickers. So I do know that normally there's supposed to be a star sticker right here. I absolutely hated it because it has this line, this crease that goes through it that raises it up, and it's really hard to get that sticker on properly. So anyway, let's take a look at this thing. Hopefully it doesn't take all that long. So normally we'll pop this off right here, and the hose is actually going to plug in right here like so, and it's going to plug right in here. So what people don't realize is, yes, this is what is supposed to control this as far as I'm concerned. All right, so we'll take a look at the gun here, and it's more like a laser gun, once again proving that maybe G.I. Joe isn't the most realistic. There's nowhere for anyone to stand on the back, but you do have this big cannon. I absolutely loved it. Really reminds me of a Transformers cannon. But you have the sight here. I'm assuming that's like kind of like a laser guided, so you know exactly where it's shooting. It almost looks like it has some sort of javelin right there. I'm actually going to remove this because it's kind of in my way. Alright. So, I never could understand why these were here. I feel like there was something that was supposed to plug into it. But when you look at the design here, it is a cool looking cannon. Alright. And it does elevate up, elevates down, and turns side to side. Alright, as for this side here, it is completely different. Alright, so you can kind of see the design here. They just give it a little bit of mechanics. And it's sitting on this little swivel, which oddly worked pretty well, but I know eventually this thing would start to wear down. Alright, so looking at the top here, you can see the rivets that are holding this whole thing into place. And again, they only have the top piece here on the roll cage, or on the roll bar of the cage, whatever you want to call it. All right, looking at the front, you do have what makes it look like a smile. Two lights, and these are probably the hardest things to keep once you lose one of the actual plastic pieces. Good luck getting that again. Probably pretty expensive. You got the grill guard, because obviously you're going to be going through brush. All right, and you can see the rivets, everything that's kind of holding it on. And even right there, this is clearly something to run some sort of detection. All right, it has the steering column, so it can turn and that's steering column. The steering wheels, so it can actually turn. So you get pretty good pictures. It also, if you push it, it actually turns. You got the hood here. All right, 2 rivets that are going to hold it down. A nice looking design, but now this is not where the engine is. We know the engine goes in the back, right over here. And what we're looking at here is, I always thought it was kind of like a suspension. At least it's supposed to be part of the suspension. But you can look at that suspension right there and see how it actually moves back and forth. Kind of reminds me of a Plymouth Prowler. All right. You get your wheels, so very similar to the Vamp. All right. Down the middle is kind of where it's supposed to be, I think, molded together. So there's no really traction right there, but that's perfectly fine. But you can see these wheels just kind of plug right in there. You got your little step bar here, which they do give you 2 pegs or 1 peg on either side. And obviously you can see right through it. Here you have your I never fully understand what this is, but again, I think it's supposed to control this. So who's ever in the passenger can actually control the gun, and I think it's maybe a laser guided sight there. All right, and on the side there, just a little bit of design. On the inside, you have a very unique steering wheel. It does not turn. I think you can pull it off though. Ooh, I guess I pulled the... That's right, I forgot this whole... the whole dashboard comes off. Well, since I pulled it off, I might as well look at it. So you can kind of look here. You can see the cluster gauge right there. You can see kind of where... I don't even know if it's supposed to be a horn, but it's going to tell you probably what make and model it is. And here's a couple more clusters right there. And there's that piece that I was talking about, which I think is supposed to control this. Once we look at the seats, we can see it looks like it is a stick shift. It has some sort of design right there for this. All right. We get to this two antennas. This way, when they're out in the field, they don't have any issues. It has a nice little tip right there. They just plug directly into it, and they are pliable that you don't have to worry about them breaking, although they get bent and they get lost fairly easily. Now, I know I'm going to regret trying to put this on while I'm still doing this video. I actually wasn't planning on pulling it off, but I'm going to throw this thing right back in here and see how much I struggle to do it. Oh, I can't wait to get the classified one in and review that and struggle to put everything together. Wow. I totally forgot that this thing comes off that easy. Well, you know what? Let's stop this for a second so I can pop this thing back on. All right, so it's back on. Let's just get right back into this. So again, I kind of showed you here, you got the little peg there so you can fit four figures on it. I always did want one on the back. But on the back here, you can see the grating. It's supposed to be like the metal. It's got a little bit of design, just so they don't slip off as easy. Here's your engine cover. You got your latch that it's telling you, so these kind of hook together. This is where you can fill it up. So that's where you're going to put the fuel. Some nice little design, some mechanics right there. And of course, this comes off, all right? And there's your engine compartment. And yes, if anyone didn't know or they forgot, the engine actually slides right out really easily. So you kind of look at it. Now, I never understood this. This is kind of where you think the carburetor would actually be. Who knows what stroke engine this is. But it looks like this is your manifold. Here's your exhaust kind of pumping out the back. This almost looks like it's supposed to be like a transmission. Again, who knows how they were designing it. I don't know if it looks like an actual dune buggy or not. I'm going to say that it's not, because right here, that's kind of how a transmission somewhat looks. So once we pop that back on there, again, you can kind of see, I'm assuming this is the fuse box right there. but we can throw this right back on here. Now, back wheels are the same as the front. Rivets all inside of it. And again, the wheels, look how they look. Now, this does have a suspension, which is actually really good. All right, so you're actually able to move it up and down, and the front does the exact same. As for the bottom here, you can kind of see where the transmission for the rear is. You can see how this is supposed to set. And the truth is, this suspension has seen better days. That's why it just kind of, you don't see very much of it. It's just pretty much dead. It's supposed to be sitting up like that. So I'm going to have to look and see if I can do something to fix that, or maybe I have to use my other All Striker and see if that one's in any better shape. So there's not really much on the bottom here. Again, you can see the way this adjusts. So now, as for putting a figure in here, here's our crankcase. I'm going to take that gun off here, and we're going to be able to slide them in fairly easily. You can see the design on the seats, so they're not super uncomfortable. And this is why I really like that idea of that telescoping snow cap, the HasLab snow cap, where you can actually take out the steering wheel. But one nice thing about this is because it's open, you can usually just take his hands and you can wrap it on there without worrying about it breaking, because they're small enough that they slide right inside there. So lucky for us, we have our crankcase. It definitely looks like he is driving it. Now let's take our airtight peg right there. And we're just going to kind of drop it right there. So now you don't have to worry about him falling off. So that was a great design. Unfortunately, a lot of these pegs would break off in their feet, and usually they was flushed. That's probably why they broke off, because you stuck it down too far. But anyway, there you go. That is your All Striker. I feel like I kind of rushed through it. I'm not really sure. I feel like I missed some stuff, but hey, there you go. If you had it, I'd love to know. I think this is awesome, and I am excited for the classified version to show up. All right, so here we have it. There is your classic review of the G.I. Joe Real American Hero All Striker. I love this thing. Do I love it more than the Vamp? I don't know. Do I love the Vamp more than this? I don't know. They're both awesome. I had them both. I enjoyed both of them. I probably play with this one more because I feel like with the suspension, this thing just kind of lasted a little bit longer. The Vamp, once you pushed on the roll cage, that thing broke out. Half the time those things would be completely gone, and then you were just completely open to everything. But anyway, this guy here, a lot of fun. Very iconic with the cartoon. Same with the Vamp was. So again, if you have a story about this, I want to hear it. This cool little laser gun or whatever it is, I don't know. I'm sure someone could probably 3D print an actual 50 cal to put on the top here. But anyway, tell me a story. I love talking about this, going back to maybe when you didn't know what a Bill was, other than just being a friend named Bill. But let me hear something about this. But before we leave, you stayed this long, and I appreciate it more than you know. So please take a second, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're notified every time I drop a vehicle for a Real American Hero. Now don't go anywhere, because you're like, I didn't see Crankcase, and I'm like, that's right, I've already done them. You just came in a little late, but I'm going to leave a link right here to Crankcase, and down here will be a playlist of all the classic reviews of G.I. Joe that I've done. Take care.